presentation day, we will be using two channels, well, three channels. You will continue to hear voice here in English Classes Stage. You will soon hear the voice of Venus, who will be presenting on how to cope with anxiety. The slides will appear in that channel, Student Presentation. That channel is normally closed. It is now open, as Nagam pasted. Instructions are in Classes FAQ. Slides will be shown in Student Presentation. Everyone make sure that you can see that channel. In a moment, I'll introduce Venus. We will welcome her with our applause here in Classes Chat. Then we will go over to Student Presentation. You will continue to hear voice just where you are right now through English Classes Stage. The slides will be in Student Presentation. Venus's presentation will last just a little under 20 minutes. After the presentation, we'll come back here to Classes Chat, and you'll have the opportunity to ask all of your questions by typing them into the chat. And that will be what we do for the entire class. All right, before we get started, I want to introduce Venus. Venus, welcome to the stage.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can, very clearly. Everyone, if you are one of our returning students, you certainly know Venus. Venus has been a member of our class for some time now. She has become such an important, such a valuable member, another source of inspiration to so many of you. Venus's accomplishments in all her journeys in English are so impressive. It is so great whenever Venus is with us. Venus will be presenting today. Yes, everyone, a huge round of applause for Venus. Venus will be presenting on how to cope with anxiety. Get those applause ready, everybody. Get those applause ready, everyone. Venus has, I have some more occasion to offer Venus our warmth, encouragement, and applause. Venus has chosen, and when you do a student presentation, everyone, you are welcome to present at both class times to students who are new. When I teach twice a day now and about 12 hours from now. That is to meet the needs of opposite time zones. And when you give a student presentation, you are welcome to do that at both class times. You don't have to, but if your schedule permits, it is great when you can do that. To students who are new, you are welcome to attend as many classes as you are able. All right, I have an occasion to let us know we have even more reason to offer our warmth, encouragement, and applause to Venus. Venus has chosen to do her student presentation and to be with us on a very special day. Everyone, I want you to get out your party hats. I want you to get out your cake and candles. I want you to get out your applause. Everyone, join me in a very special, yes, that's right, you guessed it. Today is Venus's birthday, everyone. Everyone, a huge round of happy birthday to Venus.
Oh my God.
This is the most important. We love welcoming our students. We love wishing our students happy birthday. Happy birthday, Venus. That is so great of you that you have chosen to be with us on your birthday. We are so looking forward to this. Thank you so much for being with us here today.
Thank you guys for your lovely applause and wishes. I'm so happy right now.
I want to give everyone a moment to continue their birthday wishes. What an amazing community. Look at this. Look at this.
You guys are
To
great.
news, the community is amazing. The community is amazing. This is our natural outpouring of support for one of our members. Look at that. This is all for you, Venus. This is all for you. Look at that.
I really don't know what to say. Wow. Thank you guys.
Language is a natural part of us. When we feel supported, when we feel encouraged, learning becomes possible. And this support for each other, is a natural part of what it means to be human, to support each other, to give warmth to the community. When we support one, when we support all, when we support the community, it comes back to each of us. It's a giant circle. We are so thrilled, we are so privileged that Venus has chosen to spend her birthday with us. And as part of that, Venus has her present for us. We are giving Venus our birthday wishes, and Venus is giving us her birthday present on her birthday, her presentation on how to cope with anxiety. All right. Everyone, Venus has been working on this for so long. It is such a great presentation. Join us now in the channel student presentation. It is a pin. It is a pin here. You'll see the slides in student presentation. After the presentation, we'll come back here to classes chat. We will give Venus some more birthday wishes then. But for now, join us in the channel student presentation. Let me get there myself. All right, everyone, join us in student presentation. You'll continue to hear voice. You'll hear Venus' voice here in English classes stage in student presentation. You can see her very first slide entitled How to Cope with Anxiety. Everyone should be able to see that. I want to give everyone a moment to get there. Her presentation will last just under 20 minutes. Then we'll come back to classes chat. We'll give her some more happy birthdays, and then you'll be able to type your questions for her. Venus, again, thank you so much for being here on your birthday. We're so looking forward to your presentation. Once again, happy birthday to you. And the stage is yours.
Well, hello. My name is Venus, and, well, frankly speaking, I feel anxious right now. I feel anxious about whether or not I'm going to remember what I came here to say. I feel anxious about whether or not you guys are actually going to agree with what I came here to say. And if I'm completely honest, up until about 30 seconds ago, I felt a little bit anxious about the possibility of destroying my laptop by tripping this glass of water which is next to it. But I think feeling anxious about these things, while seemingly unhelpful, is perhaps understandable. After all, it's important to me that I say exactly what I came here to say, that my message gets heard. And I actually achieved this without destroying my laptop. Yeah, right now, anxiety makes sense. But there was a time in my life when anxiety really didn't make sense. I used to feel the kind of anxiety that meant I would struggle to even walk into a room with this many people in it, let alone stand at front and give a talk. Now, obviously, something has changed since then. Otherwise, I wouldn't be standing here now. And I think the main thing that's changed is that while I still experience anxiety, I no longer suffer with it. But I didn't achieve this shift by trying to get rid of it. Now, don't get me wrong. Back in the day, that's exactly what I was trying to do. I would do all I could to avoid any anxiety inducing situations. I would arrange my daily movements, especially avoiding social situations. If I felt anxiety is starting to flare up, I just run away. I do all I could to retreat to safety and then employ various distraction techniques to take my mind away from the horribly uncomfortable feeling that something bad was about to happen. Well, guess what? It turns out that was my big mistake. You see, you don't get rid of anxiety by trying to get rid of it. Well, truth is, you don't get rid of anxiety at all. Now, by some twist of fate, or perhaps as a direct result of what I went through back then, I worked with some of my friends who are actually anxiety sufferers to help them understand and ultimately overcome those feelings. I spent a large part of the last 6 months talking to my friends about theirs and actually our anxiety. And while all those I spoke to had their own individual story, their personal journey with anxiety, every single one of them at some point expressed exactly the same desire that I used to have, the desire to get rid of anxiety completely. Can you imagine if we all achieved that? A word. Yeah, give me a moment. Anyways, yeah, that's actually anxiety, to be honest. Can you imagine that? If we all achieved the word without anxiety, what would it even look like? Well, for example, this stage would probably look empty. And I would probably not be here and having the presentation. Anxiety is the feeling that tells us when something is worth demanding our attention. So, in some small ways, it was anxiety that actually reminded us that that we had somewhere to be today. None of us would have businesses, careers, because we wouldn't have regarded studying, gaining qualifications as worth bothering with. And none of us would have, I don't know, boyfriends, girlfriends, husbands, or wife, because we just wouldn't have seen the value of washing and dressing up to make good impression on that all first date. So it seems that anxiety is important, but of course, there are those that don't feel anxiety, right? There are two very distinct groups. The first group of people who are not with us anymore, they passed away. Dead people don't feel anxious. And I think that's okay. They're dead. They've got enough to not worry about. The second group would be those we might refer as psychopaths, those people that, for whatever reason, lack the ability to have any concern for the consequences of theirs and anyone else's actions. So, if being free of anxiety would be such a bad idea, why do we regard feeling anxious so negatively? Hmm? Well, now I think the very obvious answer to that question is that it feels horrible. When we suffer high levels of anxiety over a long period of time, it can very quickly start to dominate our life, even go on to define our existence. Of course, we're going to try and get rid of it, but what if we can? What if all of our attempts to control our anxiety responses ultimately fail? One option is medication. I'm not a fan of medicating anxiety, but medication comes all sort of unpredictable and unpleasant side effects. The truth is, a medical solution to a non-medical problem will not solve that problem. If it at least, at best, just patch over it for a short while. Now, the irony here is that most of people I've spoken to, they already know all of this. During the thousands of conversation I've had with my friends, there was a common thread when asked what they felt most anxious about. The answer was generally how anxious they felt and if I would ever stop, this feeling. This concern is almost entirely created and fueled up by the idea that anxiety is an illness. But guess what? Anxiety is not an illness. Anxiety is an emotion. Every emotion is important. Every emotion has a purpose. Every emotion is a natural and vital part of our human experience. In that respect, anxiety is no more sinister than any other feeling we might have. Now, I want to share with you an analogy that might go some way towards helping us understand our emotional responses. I want you to think of your mind like a ship. Every ship has a captain and a crew, right? In this analogy, the captain is your logical, rational, conscious part of your thinking. It's the part that knows where you want to go, why you want to go there, and has a fair idea of how you think you're going to get there. Unfortunately, the part of our mind that has its hands and all the things that steer and sail our ship, that's the crew. That's your subconscious. Your subconscious is in charge of all of your automatic responses. So, actually, your pattern of thoughts and behavior, your belief system, and perhaps most importantly, your emotions. Your crew sail your ship by triggering the appropriate emotional responses. So, for example, if we regard something as dangerous, our crew might trigger the fear of fear. We've become uncomfortable, and this feeling will encourage us to move away from the danger to return to comfort. If we believe we've been wronged, a member of our crew might trigger anger, will energize, and our focus will be drawn towards taking whatever action is necessary to right the wrong. So, what about anxiety? Why do our crew trigger that particular emotion? Now, no doubt, every single one of us will have our own idea about what anxiety means. But put simply, anxiety is the emotion that tells us when something is too important to simply lose focus of. It's the voice of concern about an upcoming event or situation that refuses to be ignored. It is actually the crew saying to the captain, you need to pay attention to this. Now, here's the important part. Your crew are operating on one very simple principle. They're trying to find the best strategy for the most happiness. And yes, safety is important. After all, safety is a huge component part of happiness. We can't feel happy if we don't feel safe, right? But ultimately, at all times, your crew are trying to steer you in a direction of happiness. As the American author John Shedd once wrote, a ship in harbor is safe, but that is not what ships are built for. So even when your crew are making you feel awful, telling you things about yourself that you really don't want to hear, those seemingly self destructive thoughts I'm not good enough, I'll never be successful, I am unlovable. Even these harsh words are simply designed to steer you away from any situation that might lead to an unhappy experience. They're not trying to sink the ship, they're just trying to sail it away from the stormy seas that we fear we might not to be able to cope with. But every decision your crew makes is based upon the things you've learned throughout your life. And because many of these things you learned when you were very young, some of them no longer apply, some of them were just wrong in the first place. What this means is that, as far as anxiety is concerned, your crew will very often make mistakes. But just because they get things wrong doesn't make them the enemy. And yet, this is a sentiment I hear all the time from my friends. Anxiety is the enemy. People want to throw these crew members overboard. And I can understand that. After all, if we regard a part of our mind as now actively trying to destroy us, then of course it would be easy to view it as the enemy. If we then believe our mind has actually turned against us, it will be easy to conclude our mind is broken. It would be easy to believe that the person that told us the way you feel means you're ill. I started this talk by telling you I used to suffer some levels of social anxiety, right? So, how did I get control of that? What did I actually do to reduce it? There are three main things I did that I think helped me change. The first thing I did is I refused to believe I was ill of all the things I felt anxious about. I decided not about feeling anxious. I recognized that every time I felt anxiety, it wasn't random. It was always triggered by a situation or a thought process. Once I understood this, I could do the second thing. That's to listen to my crew. I spent too long pushing them away, trying to ignore what they were telling me. When you ignore someone with an important message, they might start to speak louder to get heard. If you continue to ignore them, they might start to shout. The only way I was going to stop anxiety from shouting at me was to listen to it, to hear what it was saying to me. I sought to understand what my crew were trying to achieve with these feelings and to turn my enemies into my friend. And the funny thing is, when you start listening to what your mind's trying to tell you, you can stop shouting. When the crew stops shouting, the captain can be heard. That's the point where you are more logical thinking. I mean, your more logical thinking gets to have some info. Now you can decide. You get to decide, is this feeling appropriate or is it inappropriate? Is it helpful or unhelpful? Once you have the ear of your crew and you know what you would want from them, the third thing, maybe the most important thing, is to always be kind to them. If you're anything like me, you spent a large part of your life beating yourself up over things you did wrong or the things you didn't quite do right, or just about the way you feel. For all the criticism and negativity you've received from others throughout your life, the person have given you the most is probably you. A demoralized crew equals self-esteem. And low self-esteem nails the slightest change will create anxiety. But the good news is you can repair the damage. That's been done very easily, simply by deciding from now on to always talk to your crew, to yourself, with kindness and positivity. People do their best work when they feel empowered to achieve it. Your crew are no different. But simply, if you beat yourself up, you just end up beating. If you build yourself up, who knows how far we can reach. This is why I think it's okay, maybe even important, to feel anxiety every single day. It means the crew are still sailing the ship and are still trying to get in the right direction. It's a part of you that makes you reread the important email before you send it. It's a part that makes sure you check your keys in your pocket before you send the front door on your way out in the morning or something. And it's the part that makes your heart skip a little bit when you think about giving that important presentation at work or in a theater. Truth is, I still feel anxious all the time. For example, every Friday morning, I wake up feeling anxious because Friday is the day my crew wake me up with the thought that I need to go and take my sister out for her basketball class. Now, it's not the bad anxiety, it's barely a whisper. It's just loud enough to get heard. And then when I've taken my sister out, it's literally gone. I mean, I know this might seem like a really trivial example, but this is exactly the sort of things that will trouble us if we believe the way we feel is not normal. The first step towards changing is to accept. Once we accept anxiety is a natural part of our human experience and treat, and it's not our enemy but as a trusted friend, you'll be surprised at how quickly the crew just get back to sailing the ship. And we start to feel a lot less anxious about anxiety. So, how do you feel today? Do you feel anxious about something? Well, that's good. I mean, you're alive. It means as part of you trying to tell you something that regards is important. Have a listen. It's here to help. My name is Venus, and after this 80 minutes, I feel a lot less anxious. Thank you very much.
Everyone, wow. Join us back in classes chat. Everyone, join us back in classes chat. What an amazing presentation, everyone. A huge round of applause. Let's come back to classes chat. A huge round of applause for Venus. What an amazing presentation. What deep meaning, what important ideas, what tremendous advice. You will have a chance to ask Venus your questions by typing them in the chat in a moment. Right now, yes, please continue your applause. What an amazing presentation. What important ideas, what tremendous advice. What a great presentation, Venus. What a great presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you all. I hope you enjoyed it.
That was amazing. That was amazing. You will have your chance to ask Venus questions in the chat in just a moment. First, a reminder, when student presentations, we're doing a student presentation today. The most important part of learning is applying what we discuss and demonstrate in class. One opportunity that we offer are student presentations. It's your opportunity working on your own or with others to present a class on a topic of interest. On the Notion page, you can see the great variety of past student presentations we have had, and thanks to Ninive, you can see videos of the most recent student presentation. If you would like Venus to attend, Venus will be giving the same presentation at the next class time. This is the 8 p.m. UTC class time. But if you are not able to, or if you know someone who could not attend, let them know that the presentation will be posted. The link to the video will be on the Notion page as soon as the video is posted. So let's also give Ninive A huge round of applause. Thanks to Ninive, you can see the most recent student presentations, including Venus's. Everyone, a huge round of applause for Ninive. It is such a significant effort. Ninive has been recording all the recent student presentations. We appreciate Ninive so much. She herself has given 2 student presentations and participated with Emma in a third. With Emma, she gave a student presentation on the brain last week. Nina, thank you so much for your presentations. Thank you so much for recording. All right, today is a student presentation by Venus on how to cope with anxiety. We just had that. You will now have your opportunity to type into the chat your questions. Venus has so many accomplishments in her life, and learning about anxiety is only one of those. Her accomplishments with English are so extraordinary. Venus is, in fact, one of our English learner students. Venus is often taken for a native speaker herself. And perhaps at some point we're going to focus on her presentation, how to cope with anxiety. We'll take your questions in the chat perhaps a little later. We'll also hear something about Venus's English learning journey. Venus's accomplishments are so many. In fact, she is an English learning student like the rest of us, but her English is so impressive. And yes, she is often taken for a native speaker. All right. You are so welcome. And everyone, as a reminder, yes, indeed, Venus has chosen to spend her birthday with us. We are not only thanking her for her great presentation, but we are saying, happy birthday, Venus. We are so thrilled, so privileged.
Oh my God, you guys are so nice.
All right, as you are wishing Venus happy birthday, this is also your chance. During student presentations, it is only the presenter who remains on stage, but we will be taking your questions about Venus's presentation, how to cope with anxiety, in the chat. I will be monitoring the questions and going through them as you type them. I'll be scrolling down. So as you have questions, go ahead. As you have questions for Venus about her presentation, how to cope with anxiety, go ahead and type them into the chat. We will spend the rest of class with your questions. And I will monitor them as we go. All right, Master, thank you so much for starting us off. From Master, I understand anxiety, as I believe everyone does face anxiety sometimes in their life. Though I'm a confident person, I face anxiety sometimes. We appreciate so much when students share not just their accomplishments, but their struggles, as Venus herself did in her presentation, as Master is doing here, as we all do in the struggles we face learning English. We appreciate that so much. It lets us know that those feelings are normal. Master, Venus, thank you for that. Master, thank you. Continuing from Master, though I'm a confident person, I face anxiety sometimes. For example, deadlines, money, love life, parents, health, etc. Thus, I'm trying my best to control my emotions to reduce the anxiety. So, Venus, for Master, any tips to control emotions? Tips to control emotions, tips or experience. Venus, your thoughts for Master.
Okay, so first off, I mean, to cope with anxiety and, emotions in general, it doesn't mean to control them. When you have emotion, we all have emotions. And in my opinion, you can, it's okay to control it, but when you feel sad, when you feel happy, every of one of these feelings and emotions is part of you. And me myself, I really don't want to control. I want them to be with me because that's when I feel actually alive. And I think it's okay sometimes to be sad. It's okay to cry over a movie. There's no need to control it, not to have it. And as I said, anxiety is an important part of our life. It's something that will tell you that, for example, I don't know, you have a presentation, you need to study well. Like if you didn't have that feeling, you probably won't study for it. I mean, at least for me, it's like that. So, I mean, tips for control it. I'm saying don't control it. I mean, it's okay to not be so emotional, but emotions are good. I think we need it. Yeah.
Venus, thank you so much. Master, thank you for your great question. We are going to have so many great questions. We are going through the questions. I am going to monitor the questions. I am following the questions, and I'm starting at the questions in the chat. I will slowly make my way down the chat. I will get to all of your questions. As you have questions, go ahead and type them in the chat. I will remain as the questions in the order of the questions. I will scroll through them and I will get to all of those. Patches has the following question. A great question from Patches, Venus. Are there levels of anxiety? How do you view levels of anxiety, Venus?
Okay. Yeah. The anxiety that I was talking about right now, it was the emotional anxiety. I mean, it's part of our emotion, but as I learned in my school, we have mild anxiety, moderated anxiety, severe anxiety, and panic level anxiety. These are different levels of anxiety that each one of them we need to do some specific things, which I didn't talk about it in the presentation, and it was specifically for mild and moderated anxiety. Yeah, that's the types of it.
Venus, thank you so much. Patches, thank you for your question. From Chill Master, Venus, your thoughts on, is it a better idea to go to a therapist when you have a bad anxiety?
So you need to define bad anxiety and like the severe anxiety and the panic level, the ones that you cannot control it at all. As I said, I am not a big fan of medication, and I think doctors. I mean, if you want to go to a normal GP and a normal doctor, they cannot help you with like only 15 minutes of talking because, therefore, I think doctors are not a well option to go, or you just need to go to a professional doctor, the one who actually study for the field. But in general, we normally have the mild and moderated anxiety. It's so rare to see someone with severe anxiety and panic level anxiety. I mean, I'm sure that it's rare. It's really rare cases that need therapist. And when we go to therapists, I mean, we sometimes people tell us, yeah, you need to go to therapist. You need to see a doctor. I'm not really a big fan of it because you're gonna get out of the room with labeled of you have anxiety disorder. This is not a disorder that you guys are having. So I'm not a big fan of going to therapy. Yeah.
Venus, thank you for that. Chill Master, thank you for your great question. We are doing a student presentation today. We do student presentations as part of the most important part of learning, applying what we discuss and demonstrate in class. Student presentations are your opportunity working on your own or with others to present on topics of interest on the Notion page. You can see a list of past student presentations. Venus, today on her birthday, is presenting her presentations on how to cope with anxiety. We are doing our question and answer portion. The presentation will, students who are able are welcome to present at both class times when I teach. It is now, in about 12 hours from now, Venus will be giving the same presentation at the next class in about 12 hours. We're doing question and answer right now. Okay, scrolling down. From Sarah, I appreciate Sarah's comment, and Venus, perhaps you can give us your suggestions on this. Sarah, so great to see you back in class. Sarah expresses, I like Venus, you are able to display confidence and management of yourself. Venus, your thoughts on how to find within ourselves our own confidence, how to express that confidence, how to manage ourselves during times of anxiety.
Okay, so I'm gonna tell you my experience, and maybe it can apply for you as well, because every individual is different. And as I said, I talked to my friends about it, and we all have different perspective of how can we actually manage that and be confident sometimes. I mean, me myself, uh, if I try hard, like every time I study hard, I try hard for something. After a while, I have the confidence, even though I might screw it up in a presentation and do some mistakes. I don't really care because I know myself that I actually tried hard. I stayed awake nights and stuff. So I believe in myself. That's the thing. Like when you love yourself, when you believe in yourself, it doesn't really matter if you're gonna have a bad presentation or a good presentation, because you know that you already studied for it and you had tried enough to be on that presentation. I think that's why, to be honest. Yeah, for me.
Venus, thank you so much. Sarah, thank you for your comment. From Neki, I hope the pronunciation is correct. Venus, what's the difference between good anxiety and bad anxiety?
Mhm. Well, anxiety in and of itself, it's not either good or bad thing. It's a normal thing. It's a normal human emotion as I said, and it's an emotion that most people experience it from time to time. People feel anxious when facing stress, uncertainty, danger, difficulty, anything. So basically, it's not either bad or good thing. It's a normal thing. We can call it that way, to be honest. There's no difference between that. If you're talking about an illness, it's something different from that, but anxiety itself, it's a normal thing.
Thank you so much, Venus. Thank you, Nikki. Flying Chappelle, thank you so much for your question, Anya. Venus from Anya, can anxiety change into depression? And how can we tell if what we have is anxiety or depression?
Let me think about it a little bit. I think depression and anxiety are two different things, and both of them are normal. I mean, we're humans, we all experience these kind of feelings of sometimes I feel like, why am I even studying? Like, why am I doing in this world? Like, feeling of emptiness. And when we lost our of interest and we no longer finding pleasure in activities or hobbies, I think that's depression. But after a while, when you think a little bit more, you will find out that you can fix it. Like both of them, like depression is actually an illness, but anxiety is a feeling. That's the difference between them. About how you can tell, it's the way that you feel. Like it's the symptoms. It's for example, when you feel anxiety, you're just nervous about an upcoming event. Like you're nervous about, like, oh my god, did I even close the door when I was about to get out of the house? This is anxiety. But depression is yeah, it's a very different, it's another level. It's actually feeling emptiness and no longer finding pleasure in activities or hobbies. This is depression. It's different. Yeah.
Venus, thank you so much. And Enya, thank you for your great question. We are doing student presentation. We do student presentations as part of our English classes. Venus is presenting on how to cope with anxiety. We're doing question and answer from priority. What are your thoughts, Venus, on escapism? Is it a sign of weak willpower? I ask this as priority because I think anxiety is directly connected to escapism. Your thoughts on this, Venus?
Okay. I mean, as I was explaining at the beginning, before I was trying to cope with it, I was trying to get rid of it. And I was trying to seek for distractions. I was trying to have some distracting techniques to just get rid of anxiety, right? But as I said, it is not going to help. Like, more you escape, anxiety is coming for you, literally. It's like a crew. The crew will keep shouting at you, and this is not going, like, they're not gonna shut it down till you listen to them. So you shall not escape, okay? And I think I don't think they're connected to each other. I mean, people do these things, they're trying to get rid of it, but in my opinion, we shall not get rid of it. We shall not escape from it. We just need to face it. Face your problems. That's what everyone will say, like when you saw some videos about this kind of things. But yeah, that's my thought about it.
Venus, thank you so much, Priority. Thank you for your question. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, sorry. And he also added, if it's a sign of weakness, don't say that. I mean, it's not like, okay, this is something that we always talk about in this classes, that it's okay. I mean, it's a matter of perfection. It's like I'm not sure, but we cannot be perfect all the time. Like, it's okay to be weak sometimes. Like, I'm weak in some specific situations, and I'm not like mad of it. Like, it's okay, it's me, and I know myself. So I don't like that. It's not a sign of weakness. It's just you don't know what to do with it. I mean, so many people see anxiety as an illness, not an emotion. That's why when you're gonna, like, they're afraid of saying that, okay, I have anxiety. They think it's a weakness. It's not a weakness. It's an emotion. So when you have it, it's not the sign that you are weak. Or even when you're escaping from it, it doesn't mean that you're weak. Maybe you just don't know how to cope with it. You just need to find a way to cope with it. And these three things that I said, it's how I cope with it. Like, as I said, it helped me change. It can be some other ways that can help you change or others change. It's about individuals.
Venus, thank you so much, and I appreciate so much your comments on that. Of course, so consistent with our class principles that there are no mistakes. There are so many journeys in our English learning journeys, in all our journeys through life. The most important aspect of all our journeys is not just the warm, supportive environment we give to each other, but the warm, supportive environment we give to ourselves, to look at all things, all aspects of our lives as opportunities of coming to know ourselves better. As we say in our class principles, it's by looking at our last steps, not by judging as right or wrong, not as correct or incorrect, simply by looking at our last steps so that we're able to take those next steps we most want to. We're doing student presentation. We do student presentations as the opportunity to explore further our learning of English, to working either with ourselves or with others, present on a topic of interest. We're doing the question and answer portion. We have about 30 minutes left. Let's take a little time out for students who perhaps have joined us late. Let's take a few moments. We are doing a student presentation. Venus is presenting on how to cope with anxiety. Let's hear a little bit, Venus, if you would be willing. Tell us a little bit about your background. Now, again, everyone, student presentations are from our students, from members of our English learning classes. All presentations are as students. But Venus also has a particularly special background. Again, she's presenting here just as one of us, as another student. But Venus, all your accomplishments are so impressive. You're often taken for a native speaker. Could you give us a little background on both your English learning, what you're doing in school right now? What might you like to share about yourself and your background?
Okay, so, well, hi, I'm Venus. I am a medical student. I am in my fourth year. And one of the, about my English background, I've been studying English since I was a child, like 6 or 7 years old. And my journey is an illness journey like all of you guys. And yes, that is like the thing that I want to talk about is that at the beginning, and I mean, this 14 years, 15 years of studying, I was focusing on grammar, and I never thought of it as a tool. You know, I know it was a tool of communication, but I was like, okay, it's a tool of communication. We all know, but I was keep focusing on grammar. But when I joined these kind of classes, especially Alan's classes, I found out that it's not all about grammar. It's actually about expressing yourself. And by that, I think I have a really great improvement in my English by thinking that way, the way like we are learning this to express ourselves to other people with different languages. I mean, this is a better process, I mean, thought process to have, in my opinion. Yeah. That's
And thank you so much. And for those who may have joined late, can you give us a quick summary of the main points of your presentation for those who might have missed it?
Yes. Okay. So the main point of it is, I mean, I didn't choose the topic how to control it. I said how to cope with it. When we use cope, it means like it's a normal thing and I need to get used to it. And I don't really need to get rid of it because anxiety is an emotion and like other emotions, and it's no sinister than other emotions. And we just need to find out that why it is here. We need to listen to ourselves. Why am I feeling anxious right now? Is this like, for example, it's a presentation. Like I'm keep the example with presentation because I'm presenting you right now, and I do feel anxious right now, to be honest. Like I have anxious before the presentation because it actually tells me that you need to work hard for it. You need to study for it to have your presentation in a good way and just don't mess it up. I mean, for example, when I want to go out, I will check if I actually close the gas, or I don't know, if I close the air conditioner. This is the feeling of anxiety. I mean, that's why we feel it. And if you think of it, if you think that way, that it's actually a good thing, that you actually need it, it's gonna change your life in a. I mean, it's not. It changed my life, to be honest. This thought process, but yeah, that's the main thing. It's an emotion, like others.
Thank you so much. We are doing a student presentation. Student presentation is your opportunity to present to class on a topic of interest as you further develop your English skills in application. Venus is presenting on how to cope with anxiety. Everybody remember, today is also Venus's birthday. Don't forget to keep wishing her happy birthday. Okay, we are doing question and answers. Following up on Venus's great presentation, I'm going down the chat. Next is Ninive. And again, thank you, Ninive. Everyone say thank you, Ninive, for recording presentations. From Ninive, Venus, it was a great presentation. And my question from Ninive, how can I know if my anxiety is quite normal and when it is extreme, when it can influence my life more in a bad way? How can we tell between normal anxiety and more extreme?
Okay, so, I mean, in my opinion, your anxiety is normal. It's you changing it to an extreme level. I mean, when you keep overthinking about something, I mean, I call it obsession or an endless thought loop that leaves you exhausted. You're gonna be exhausted after, and you're gonna like that's why you don't have the energy to continue, to manage your life, and that's why you think that's gonna have a bad influence in your life. But if you listen to it, if you think it in a normal way, if you think that, I mean, think positively, don't think negatively. I mean, that's what I keep doing in my life. I don't think about negative things. I don't have negative thought. I do have negative thoughts like this might happen, that might happen, but this is, I call it anxiety. And when I'm gonna think of these bad things, I will try to find a solution to fix it. I will try to find a solution to avoid it, like the bad thing that might happen. For example, I might like while I'm driving on a bridge, there's a feeling that there's anxiety that tells me, okay, you should watch out. You might lose control of your car. But if I and when I'm thinking that way, I'm gonna have the solution of it, that I need to have my focus on the road and I don't need to have any distraction. This is the example I'm trying to tell you. But yeah, it really depends on yourself, if you're gonna think it's normal, or it's just a really bad and a scary thing. It's not a scary thing. It's you making it a scary. I mean, that's my opinion. Yeah.
Venus, thank you so much. Nina, thank you for your great question. Okay, from Nagam. Venus, do your thoughts on yoga and breathing exercises, do you find these to be effective in dealing with anxiety over a long period of time? Nagam mentions they mean a higher level of anxiety than perhaps would be seen as normal. Venus, your thoughts on yoga and breathing exercises as a way of dealing with high levels of anxiety?
Mhm. Okay, so I had higher levels of anxiety when I am about to take an exam. Like literally every time, I feel so anxious. Like you have no idea. But it really depends on you. Like breathing exercise really helps, and it helps you. It's actually, I don't know how to say it in English, but um, it depend. It's related to the cardiology. Like when you breathe, it's like your whole body gonna be it's gonna be refreshed, and your cells are like going to have the opportunity to use the oxygen efficiently. So breathing exercise is actually a really good thing. Is in every situation, every inducing anxiety situations. But yoga, I mean, it really depends on your personality. I don't really like yoga. I never tried it to actually judge it if it's a good thing or it's a bad thing. If you think it's if you like it, just do it. For example, for myself, like swimming is something like yoga. Like when I swim, it's like yeah, it's something that I really do when I feel anxious, to be honest. But yoga, it's like, as I say, it really depends on you. But breathing exercise, it's like good for in every situation. I do suggest that.
I appreciate those answers so much. Yes, breathing is recommended as so effective in relaxation in so many ways, and I appreciate Venus, your answer so much about yoga. Just as in our English classes, it's so valuable to be exposed to a range of approaches to learning and finding the ones that work best for you. As Venus said, in all these methods, the things that work best for you are the things that work best for you. Do those things that work best for you. Nagam, thank you so much for your great question. From Snowman, we're doing questions and answers following up on Venus's presentation, how to cope with anxiety. From Snowman, that was an amazing presentation. Thank you so much for speaking about this topic. My question from Snowman, what should we do if the anxiety has already started screaming? What should we do if we don't know how to listen to our crew? Venus's analogy of a crew and a captain, because we have if in the case that we have already been ignoring our crew for so long.
Okay. So it actually really depends on the situation that you're in. Okay, I'm gonna give you an example, like my example. I mean, it related to me about exams. As I said, I really had high levels of anxiety when I'm taking exams. And it's literally shouting. You know, the crew that I'm saying is like make my brain exhausted. And sometimes it happens that I'm gonna like have a bad grade in my exam, even though I studied for it. It's all because of that shouting, and my brain don't have the opportunity to think appropriately. And you know, it's about before that, but now I'm okay. It's because um, there was a time when I actually noticed about this topic. I mean, this methods of to cope with anxiety. What I did was like, I mean, I was at the exam. I never forget. It was an anatomy exam, and I was so nervous. Again, high levels of anxiety. Crew was shouting, and I was like, "What else gonna happen? Like, at least I'm gonna fail the exam. Who cares? Like, this is the listening part. Like, I listened to it. I was like, okay, fine. Okay, I'm nervous about it exam, but I studied for it. I don't have anything to be worried about. I mean, that's how you listen. That's how you think about the worst situation. Like, what is the worst thing that gonna happen? The worst thing is gonna happen is that you're gonna fail and you're gonna have the class again. And I mean, okay, you're gonna have the class again. That's nothing so special or important. So that's what I think about it. I mean, you can actually listen to it eventually.
Snowman, thank you so much. And Venus, thank you so much for your answers.
Yeah.
Okay, continuing down, questions and answers following up on Venus's presentation on how to cope with anxiety. Priority made a comment, and I wonder if you would like to follow up on this. You offered your thoughts during the presentation on medication. Priority makes the comment of meditation over medication, meditation over medication. Venus, do you want to follow up again on your thoughts on medication?
Yeah, so medication is like by pills and stuff. And as I said, it got some bad side effects, so I don't really recommend it. But meditation is something like yoga and breathing exercise that Nagan was talking about. So of course, meditation over medication. That's right.
Thank you so much. Priority, thank you for offering that and to give Venus the opportunity to review her thoughts on medication. Okay, there are two related questions, and I'm sure Venus would like to, she's spoken to this, and I'm sure would like to follow up. From Bad Loser, is anxiety a kind of disease, or is it like apprehension? And that's related to Ian's question, is anxiety and depression bad? Those two are related. Is anxiety kind of disease? Is anxiety and depression bad? Venus, you've spoken about those. Could you share with us again your thoughts on that?
Yeah, sure. So as you know, apprehension, it actually the literal meaning of anxiety. So yes, actually anxiety is an apprehension and it's not a disease. Like that's what I said. That's why I keep telling that doctors are really not a good option because you're gonna have another reason to be anxious about. For example, you're gonna go to a doctor and they're gonna tell you, yes, you have anxiety disorder, even though you don't actually have it. It's just a normal thing. And you're gonna feel anxious about, oh my God, I have an anxiety disorder. And you're gonna feel anxious about it as well. It's like you are making a new reason for yourself to be anxious. Don't do that. So anxiety is not a disease. And it's just a feeling. It's just as yeah, apprehension is a really good word to use. I really like I I really want to thank you to remind me of this word. Mhm. Oh, about the depression, anxiety and depression are bad? No, they're not. It's just, I mean, we're humans, we're not robots. We feel things, we experience things, and life is hard, and we cannot just expect that life is going to be easy for us, and we all not going to have any. like we are not going to get through depression or anxiety. We're all going to experience that, and you're not alone. So basically, it's not a bad thing. It's a normal thing, and you just need to cope with it. You just need to know how to manage it, and you just need to know. I mean, you just need to educate yourself how to actually not let them to influence your life in a bad way by coping with it and understanding it. Hope it works.
Thank you so much, Venus. Thank you, Bad Loser and Ian, for your questions. We're doing question and answer following up on Venus's presentation on how to cope with anxiety. Again, student presentations are your opportunity to do the most important part of learning English, learning anything, application of what you're learning. Student presentations are your opportunity to present on a topic of interest, working on your own or with others. More information about student presentations on the Notion page. From Mo. Mo offers an interesting question. Very amazing work, Venus, how to cope with anxiety and achieve perfect results. From your experience, Mo asks, is it better, I want to see if I understand Mo's question. Is it better or does it cause additional problems by thinking about troubled or negative results? Does that cause us to be on edge? Is there a way in which thinking about anxiety or our difficulties can make it worse? Mo, hopefully I've understood your question. Venus, your thoughts on that?
I'm sorry, I didn't get it, but
In other words, can it be not helpful to think about our anxiety? Are there some instances where thinking about our anxiety makes it worse, makes it more intense?
okay. So you're just trying to ignore it. That's what exactly I said not to do it. I said to listen to it. I said I talk about like think about it. Like why am I feel anxious right now? Oh, okay. Is it because I might lose control of my car while I'm driving on the bridge? So yes, that actually makes sense. I'm gonna think about it. I'm gonna like find a solution for it. It's a negative thought. That's a negative thought that might not happen at all. But I'm gonna think about it and I'm gonna like have a solution for it. Like, okay, what should I do right now? What should I do in this situation? It's the brain doing the job. It's the captain doing the job right now. You're gonna listen to your crew, so you're gonna like, okay, my message, I mean the crew's message is get heard, and I actually understand the crew's message right now. Now it's the captain or the brain's job to think about it and have decisions over it. Yeah. I hope
Thank you.
yeah, I hope I answered the question.
Perfect. Thank you, Mo. Thank you, Venus. From Bokiki, Venus has spoken to this a couple times. Again, very quickly. Bokiki, do you think anti-anxiety or such medication is necessary? Does it help or not? Venus has spoken to this a little bit. One more time, Venus. Your thoughts on medication? On medication?
So I'm going to introduce myself again. As I said, I'm a medical student in my 4th year, but I'm not a doctor yet. So basically, I cannot tell you if it's okay, if it's bad. It is just about my thoughts. And in my opinion, having medication, as I said, for non-medical solution, it's not gonna like just fix the problem. And anti-anxiety medication, like that kind of pills and stuff, they have so many bad side effects, and some of them are addicting. And you're gonna get addicted to this kind of pills, and you're gonna feel. I mean, this is all the things that you're gonna do for medication. You're gonna have another thing to feel anxious about. Like you're gonna feel, oh my god, I am literally addicted to this kind of pills and drugs. So you're gonna have another reason to be anxious. That's why I don't really recommend that, and I don't want anyone to go to therapy, to be honest. But yeah, medication is not necessary.
So Kiki, thank you, and thank you, Venus. Priority, you are so
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I have something else to do. He asked that does it actually help us to cope with anxiety? Like coping with anxiety, it's different from treating the anxiety. Like when you want to cope with anxiety, it's you doing it. It's not the medicine. So basically, this medicine, this medication, it's like it's not gonna like help you to cope with it because you still have that thought process that you still think that anxiety is a bad thing. It's something that I need to get rid of it. And that's why you cannot even cope with it. Okay. It's just, it just calm you down. You know, anti-anxiety pills, they're not going to do anything. They're just going to like calm you down to you. And that's an easy way to explain. I hope that
Bokiki,
works. Yeah.
Bokiki, thank you so much. And Venus, thank you for your answers. Priority, you're so welcome. Okay, Catfish, and to all students, we are so glad whatever the topics are in our classes when it offers students new ways of thinking. Chill Master asks a very important question, and Patches also had a response I saw later in the chat. I'll read that when I get further down there. First of all, in general, let me make some general comments. And Chillmaster asks, how do we best help someone who is in danger in any way of harming themselves? Let's remember, first of all, we are here in English class. We're doing a student presentation on how to cope with anxiety. That is the context. If you are supporting someone who is in danger of harming themselves in any way in your respective country, find the resources, find the experts that are available. It may be hospitals, it may be doctors, it may be other resources that are specifically equipped, staffed, and geared to help individuals who are in imminent danger of harming themselves. Become aware of those resources. Become aware of those resources before you need to recommend those resources for friends or for yourself. Become aware of the resources available in your countries, hospitals, doctors, community resources that are geared, trained, and staffed to help individuals who are in imminent danger of harming themselves. Venus, your further thoughts on this important issue?
Yes, actually, this is a really important issue, and I think I'm not that professional to talk about it. Professionally, I don't know if you understand me, but as Alan said, there are so many resources that we can actually turn up to and tell them about it. And also, at the first place, I think we need to prevent this to happen because, for example, if you know the person, you could already tell if the person is actually in a bad mood or he or she is actually depressed. So you're going to keep talking to him or her. So you are going to avoid that, like avoid that from happening. It's not about like, I don't know if you get me. And the important thing is that to give them the feeling that you care and you really want to talk to them. You need to invite them to keep talking with you. If they want to do that, you need to talk to them, you need to tell them that you are here for them. They're not alone. And most people who are attempting to do this kind of thing, they actually don't want to do it. They just want their pain to end. Okay, and they can see another way out of their situation. You need to tell the person that there are so many other ways to try. Okay, that's my thought.
Thank you so much for the important question, Chill. Venus, thank you for your responses. And I am slowly going through the chat so I don't lose my place. I will read Patch's contribution, and I notice also Frost offered a link on resources. I will read those as I get to them. Again, this particular topic, friends or ourselves, if there's ever an imminent danger of harm to an individual, to ourselves, become aware. It's so important to talk about things, not to keep things secret, but become aware in your country, in your community, the resources, hospitals, doctor, community resources that are staffed, that are trained, that are equipped to deal with and support anyone who is in imminent danger of self-harm. All right. Sayuki, your thoughts, Venus, on the idea of chronic, constant, repeating chronic anxiety or anxiety disorder?
Okay. So chronic anxiety is like long-term anxiety. And, long-term anxiety and panic attacks can cause your brain to release like stress hormones on a regular basis. And this can cause you some headaches, dizziness, and at the end it could be depression. So my thoughts on it is like not to have it like, we have chronic and we have and not like a normal anxiety. We're gonna have chronic anxiety when we don't know how to actually cope with it. If we educate ourselves, we can avoid to change this anxiety to be a chronic anxiety. I don't know if you get me. That's my thought.
Thank you, Venus. Thank you, Psyche. We have about 4 minutes left. We'll extend a little bit, not too long. We'll see how many more questions we can get to. We have about 4 minutes left. We'll extend a little bit. All right, scrolling down. Again, more birthday wishes. We are so fortunate, privileged. Venus has chosen to spend her birthday with us. All right, scrolling down from C-Swing. Venus, what can we do if we feel anxiety escalating to a panic attack?
Okay. So this happened to me.
And
I don't know if you listen. This happened to me when I'm taking the exam. It's literally a panic attack, and it can make me fail my exam. And at this time, I keep thinking, and look, sometimes I really don't know how to think, and I keep distracting myself, even though I shall not do that. Like as I said in the presentation at the beginning, I was trying to use distraction techniques, like trying to think about another thing while I am doing the exam. That's the worst thing to do. It's literally you're gonna forget everything you studied for last night and stuff. So um the first thought that usually came to mind is to distract yourself, but we should face it. It's so hard. It needs so much practice to actually have that idea of facing your anxiety. And yeah, I think not the only, but the thing that we can do is to face it and think about it. Okay, why am I feel anxious right now? And when you think about it, you're gonna say, as I said before, you're gonna find a solution for it. Or and you're gonna think about the worst thing that might happen. Like what else gonna be happening? You're at least gonna fail the exam. Who cares? So yeah, I think that's it.
C-Swing, thank you so much. Any particular thoughts? Alphic asks in particular about dealing with anxiety attacks if also feeling lonely. Any particular thoughts, Venus, on a sense of loneliness combined with anxiety?
Yeah. I see Alphec's question, how can I deal with anxiety attacks? That's not attacks, don't call it that. It's just anxiety. And when you feel lonely, it like uh you know, it's so hard to talk about it right now because if I want to talk about it, I really need to talk to you for like hours so I can actually know what do you mean by like what do you think when you're lonely and what kind of thoughts gonna come to you. Like when I'm alone, I keep thinking and I keep overthinking about the things that might happen, like that might happen. For example, last year, like it was like finished already, and I have anxiety about it. The thing that I mean, that's like, I really don't want to say, but I think that's what I do is to distract myself, try not to be lonely. For example, I go and cook something. So and think about and I will distract myself um, with cooking. So I'm not gonna feel lonely. So I'm not gonna overthink about it. And loneliness is totally different thing from anxiety. As I said, when you feel anxiety, you don't have to distract yourself. You need to face it. But when you feel lonely, you need to find a way not to feel lonely anymore. Like you need to find a way to do something that reduce this kind of feeling. For example, I don't know, cook something, exercise, play games or something, talk to your friends, something like that. And by doing that, by distracting yourself from the feeling of loneliness, you can avoid anxiety. I don't know that if it makes sense to you.
Venus, thank you so much. Um, all right, class is actually over. We're going to try and go quickly through the remaining questions. Let me scroll down. Catfish asks about this concept of toxic positive, and I know Catfish explains that a little more further down. We'll get to that in a moment. In response to Fervid, yes, student presentation, students are welcome, if their schedule permits, to present at both classes, and Venus will be presenting at the immediately following 8 p.m. UTC class. You students are welcome to attend as many classes as they can. Niniv is also recording the presentation. That recording will be, the link to that will be posted on the Notion page once that is processed. Scrolling down. Venus, any experience, any response to Varun, who asked what to do about cold in your fingers and feet because of anxiety?
Oh, that. Okay, so I mean, my hands are always cold, to be honest, and my feet also. But the thing that we tell them to do is, I mean, that's a breathing exercise that I keep telling you. When you breathe, your heart gonna like the palpitation gonna like a little bit increase. So it's a body temperature. It means like your heart. It's I'm not gonna say your heart beats slowly, but or less than usual. Like usually in a minute, it should like pulse 60 times, but it pulses slowly. So when you breathe, when you do some activity, for example, when you're gonna run, when you're gonna like exercise a little bit, like you're gonna have palpitations, and this gonna help your okay, what is it in English? Okay, I really need to find some. Yeah, I need to work on my terminology, to be honest. Yes, and you're not gonna feel cold anymore by working out, exercising, and also trying to warm yourself up. I mean, that's the easy thing to do, but usually it depends on your heart, and try to make it um, try to have it as oh yeah, try to make it pulse more. Do anything like that. Yeah, that's what I think.
Thank you so much. Catfish goes on to explain toxic positivity is an obsession with positive thinking. It is the belief that people should put a positive spin on all experiences, even those that are profoundly tragic. Any thoughts on this, Venus?
Yeah. So, we have, I mean, when I'm thinking about toxic positivity, the words that came to my mind is about being pessimist or optimist. These are two different things. We need to have a balance of it. But when we lose balance of it, we're going to be so optimistic about something. For example, um, okay, this is an example. Okay. For example, you're gonna go somewhere and you're alone and you will see a stranger, whether it's late at night, you will see a stranger across the street, it's late at night. And you're gonna think like, oh my god, you're gonna have some positive thoughts. Yeah, the person gonna help me, nothing gonna happen. I mean, it is obvious that person over there is like creepy. This positive thinking is so toxic that can like influence your life in a really bad way. So toxic positivity, it's different from thinking positive logically. So you need to have a balance between that. Like as I said, you should think about negative thoughts and have solutions, and you also you need to have some positivity in your life. I mean, because we need it. Just imagine like we're gonna all we think is like negativity and try to find a solution. It's not a good thing. We need to have a balance of it. And when you lose the balance, it's gonna be the toxic positivity or being so optimistic so much. You know? I'm not telling you to be pessimistic though. I'm telling you to have the balance and control it.
Catfish, thank you so much. And Venus, thank you for that answer. Okay, scrolling down. Class is over. We're extending just a little bit. We're going to try and get through the rest of these fairly quickly. As I mentioned, Patches had a comment later on helping others from Patches as a youth counselor. These people need love and warmth. I recommend you to talk to them and make them feel there is someone with them. Great advice for all of our acquaintances, all of our friends in need, the recognition that all people need love and warmth. Patches recommends talking to others, making others feel there is someone with them. All right, scrolling down, trying to quickly get through the rest of the questions. Frost list further in the chat, one list of resources for individuals who may be in jeopardy of self-harm or suicide. Again, be aware in your countries, in your communities, if you know anyone in imminent danger of self-harm, those resources, hospitals, doctors, community resources. Again, Nineveh is recording, and Venus will be doing the same presentation at the following class, the 8 p.m. class time. We can return to some more of these. I want to try and bring class to a close. We're trying to stay on time. There are some more questions. Chappelle follows up on medication. Venus has mentioned medication several times now, that Venus does not recommend medication in her experience, and you can go back through the video of the presentation, perhaps attend the next one, hear some more from Venus on that. Let's continue down. Alan0309 offers a great comment for me. Mental illness is my biggest gift that I ever blessed. It helps me to care about people around because I don't want the same things to end up on them. It also makes me feel satisfying that I'm able to lift others up. A great approach to our own struggles, to take those and find a way to use that to help others. A number of students in the chat responded to a joke about self-harm. That is not something that we ever should joke about, and I appreciate hearing in the chat students respond in that way. Not something ever to joke about. I appreciate Emma's question. Any further resources or recommendations, Venus, you want to point out, either now or perhaps you would certainly be welcome to offer those in a further class. From Emma, Are there any resources you would recommend, Venus, to inform oneself about anxiety? Are there any underlying or resources to further explore whether there are underlying medical issues that could be causing anxiety?
Okay, so there are so many textbooks that you can actually refer to, and some videos. I mean, to be honest, like the book that I was using in my school was like in my own language. It wasn't international. And as I didn't have that much of a course of psychology, I cannot have some specific resources, but I don't know, to be honest.
And if you do, and it's a great question, and if on reflection you think of resources that you want to share, you would be welcome in a future class to mention those in class. You certainly have that invitation. The presentation, Saf BV, thank you for your question. The presentation today is on coping with anxiety. We're going to stick to that topic. Emma has a great question. Venus, the difference between anxiety and fear, are they connected somehow?
Okay. So basically, as I said, there are two different feelings, and fear is like as a reaction to a specific danger. But anxiety is kind of unfocused, and it's unfocused fear. Like they are actually connected to each other, but they have different meanings and different ways to cope with. Like when you fear of something, you cannot change it. For example, I fear of heights. I'm not have anxiety about it. I just feel, and yes, this can cause anxiety. Like when you are walking on the edge of, I don't know, a mountain, you're gonna have this kind of feeling. Oh my god, what if I'm gonna just fall out? This is anxiety. The thinking is anxiety, but the fear itself is something in you, and you can't, like in my opinion, you cannot do anything about it. For example, I fear of snakes. What can I do about it? I just fear about it. But they're scary. But anxiety is the thinking. It's like your crew is warning you. Don't worry. I mean, it's like the crew is telling you that, okay, you're afraid of the snakes. Watch out. Just go in another direction. There's the snakes there. Something like that. I don't know if I can tell you if I can actually have a good answer for that. I hope it's helped.
Venus, thank you so much. And Emma, thank you for your great question. Emma's question is going to be the last question. I knew we would have so many great questions. And again, everyone, when you give a student presentation, students are welcome to give a student presentation at both class times to students who are new. When I teach, it is twice a day now at the 7:30 UTC class time. All days and times are UTC. So there's a 7:30 class time. There is an 8 p.m. UTC class time. Venus will be doing the same presentation at the immediately following class, 8 p.m. UTC. I knew there would be so many great questions. Many of you may have the opportunity and would be welcome to join us for the same presentation when Venus offers this at the 8 p.m. class time. Venus, what an amazing presentation. You could see the response was so enthusiastic. We appreciated your presentation so much. Venus, your closing thoughts on this important topic to the class.
Okay, first of all, I want to thank all of you guys for sharing your time with me to hear what I said and hear my thoughts. And also I want to thank Mr. Allen for helping me in this presentation, and also Nineveh for recording that, and all of you guys. And about your questions, I hope it helped. And as I really recommend you guys to to search through some other sources, because all I've said, it's my opinion, it's my thought. So you guys, we are different. So basically, I recommend you guys to search through the internet or any textbooks or anything to find your own way to cope with it and find your own idea about anxiety. And I hope you enjoyed it. And don't forget, anxiety is an emotion like other emotions. So, yeah, that's it.
Everyone, a huge round of applause. Even Snoopy is expressing what a great presentation that was. Ninive has brought us Snoopy. Everyone, a huge round of applause for Venus. What an amazing presentation. A huge round of applause. Don't forget, a huge happy birthday, Venus. Venus, we are so thrilled that Venus has chosen to spend her birthday with us. What an amazing presentation. This has been a student presentation by Venus, such a valued, such an important member of our community. Venus's presentation, How to Cope with Anxiety. Ninive, thank you so much to Ninive. Everyone say thank you, Ninive. Thanks to Ninive. Once the recording is processed on the Notion page under past student presentations, you will find a link to this presentation, and Venus will be giving the same presentation at the immediately following class, the 8 p.m. UTC time. Venus, thank you so much for your amazing presentation. Thank you. We'll look forward to the next one at 8 p.m. Again, from all of us as well. Have a great, great birthday. Happy birthday, and thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, I'm going to jump back to audience. Thank you all for your beautiful wishes and beautiful comments. Love you all. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye just for now. See you at 8 p.m. All right. What an amazing presentation. What an amazing presentation. All right. As always, take a look at the Notion page for the upcoming schedule. As you can see, one more. Venus will be presenting the same presentation at 8 p.m. than this class time. Tomorrow we'll be doing open exercise. Open exercise is your opportunity to request any one of the exercises we do during class. It can be pronunciation, it can be writing, it can be reading. That will be open exercise. Then, as usual, over the weekend, we will do open question and answer, your opportunity to ask any questions relating to English learning or learning in general. And then at some point on the weekend, I will fill out the schedule for next week. And again, thank you also to Nagam. Everyone say thank you, Nagam. Thank you to Nagam for pasting into the chat information from the Notion page. All right, everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you for your help, Nagam. Thank you, Nina, for your recording. Venus, thank you so much for your amazing presentation. Happy birthday, Venus, from all of us. And we will see all of you who are able, and we will see you, Venus, at the 8 p.m. UTC class time immediately following for the same presentation. All right, as is our tradition, somewhere in the bottom of the chat, Kenneth, so good to see you back in class. Nagam, thanks again for your help. Good to have you here. Soph BV, thanks for your participation.